So yeah, we mentioned Redwater, Texas, which on your story as part of your voice journey is essentially what it is. I've been there. It's literally a one-stop sign town with a general store
Mhm.
slash gas station slash
Yeah.
loitering point, right? So, um, you're still a youngin. What's it been like growing up in that part of the world?
Yeah, growing up, because Redwater is so small, so I feel like to really do anything, you kind of have to venture away from Redwater, go to like the Texarkana area more so.
Yeah.
And for me growing up, I stayed heavy in the softball world. I was big into fast pitch softball. So I would be constantly away at like tournaments out of town and whatnot.
Yeah, and so sports was really your passion growing up until something freak happened,
Absolutely.
and we'll talk about that. But was music kind of there too on the peripheral, or did that not really come until the injury?
Well, for me, so growing up, ever since I could speak, my parents have said that I've always sang.
Hmm.
I've always been walking around the house singing, just whatever. And I knew I could sing. I was just too shy to do so in front of anybody. I would not do it. If you asked me to sing, I would run and hide. It was like the worst thing ever in the world for me. I did not want to do it for anyone. And then whenever I broke my leg, I had received a pawn shop guitar the
Hmm.
Christmas prior to doing so, and I didn't have anything better to do. So I went home. I'm still wearing a boot and picked up this guitar. I taught myself how to play. I think within the first few days of teaching myself how to play, I learned my first song. And then 6 months later, I landed American Idol.
Wow. Yeah. So what was that
Yeah.
first song that you learned? Do you remember?
Oh my goodness. Honestly, I want to say that the first thing I ever learned might have been a Billie Eilish song.
Okay. Nothing wrong with that.
which is which is crazy to say because I'm so heavy into country music now. But I think it was a Billie Eilish song, and then the actual first song I really, really learned and was like one of the first ones I ever played out would have been Folsom Prison, Johnny
Okay.
Cash.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a great tune. That's a good starter song for sure. I wanted to
absolutely.
talk about family life with you because a lot of times with these with the competition shows, the backstory is important to the show, and obviously they have to market their stars and stuff like that, and I understand that. But I find your story interesting because I knew who you were before the show. So I mean, we've never met or anything, but I did know who you were, and I'm interested first of all in your genre diversification because you haven't always been country. You just alluded to that a little bit, and I've seen your live shows as well. So you can't sell me on country only. I've seen those live shows. Um, but anyway, I wanted to talk about the family story from The Voice. About you just finding out about your culture and who you are. You look different than your sisters. That had to be a little bit of a culture shock for you as a youngster, right?
Oh, absolutely. No doubt. Yeah, because growing up, I actually recall an incident at home. I was in the bathroom and I had this bottle of whiteout, and I took this bottle of whiteout and I began to like paint up my hands and my arms. And my mom came in the bathroom and she's like, "Haley, what are you doing? Why do you have the whiteout and why are you putting it on your arm like that?" And I was like, "I just want to look like my sisters.
Mm,
Why don't I look like them?"
yeah. And so we're alluding to the Native American background. So you start asking questions at that point. So
Yes.
how's it feel to know that you have a different culture? You know now why you look different, maybe why you act a little bit different, things like that. Do you really start deep diving into that culture and trying to learn as much as you can about it?
Absolutely, yeah. And I think that I took my biggest dive in 2020 and 2021 during COVID, during the pandemic. And me and my mom, we sat down and we got on like ancestry and started going through all the genealogy stuff and just making a big family tree, trying to put everything together.
Yeah. And so, did you know that the person who raised you was your stepdad all along, and that you had a biological dad that was separate?
I did. I did know that. However, I never once referred to him. I know on the show they had
Right.
me refer to him as stepdad, but
Right.
of course, to me, that is my dad.
Right. So you've always
I
called
don't I
him
don't see
dad.
him as a stepdad.
Exactly right.
Yes.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk a little bit about lessons because I feel like in the music world, it's really kind of interesting how lessons that you learn when you're young end up being really things you lean on in the music industry as well. So has that happened for you already, where you've learned some
Oh
things from
yeah,
your folks that you kind of apply to your everyday life now?
absolutely, yeah.
So what were some of those?
Really just you have to be in things all or nothing. You can't like, with your family, you have a line of loyalty. And with my music, there's also loyalty there, whether I'm working with somebody else or it's just between me and my instruments.
Yeah, yeah. And I hear you say a lot on the show, I will not take no for an answer. Is that something you learned from your folks as well?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. No is not in my vocab.
Yep. You never know what can happen to you if you just ask, right?
Right.
I mean, look,
That's all there is
here
to
we
it.
are.
Just
We're
ask.
talking right now because I just asked. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So you talked about sports and all of that, and how you did have you did enjoy singing. Do you remember what your first musical memory was as a kid?
Ooh, let's see. One of my first musical memories that I recall is singing in a talent show in elementary school, I believe.
Okay.
And oh goodness, what did I sing? Now you got me thinking. Um, I believe also not country. I believe I sang "Knocking on Heaven's Door" by Avril Lavigne. It was like a rendition that she put out,
Yeah, yeah.
but it was kind of slow and mellow, really nice.
And that's a song you do during your live shows still to this day, I believe, right?
Yes, I still do. I still carry that with me.
Yeah.